So, hey Bubble family, welcome back to the channel, and to new members who have just come along and just seen the thumbnail and decided to join this video, welcome. If you would like to know more about what I am trying to do here on the channel, there is an intro video which I will hopefully put up here, or it will be in the description box below. Please go and check that out, because that gives you all the information that you need to know regarding this channel, what the Bubble family truly means, and a little bit about me. So my name's Emma, and my book's just fallen down, and I'm a qualified therapist and trained life coach, and this is my channel where I give you some therapeutic perspectives. This is not therapy, with a little bit of tea on the side. So in this particular one, I'm now doing another chapter in the Tom Bower book. So if you'd like to see more, there is a playlist for all of those. If you've missed them, please go and check them out. But if you'd like to stick around, well, you know what to do by now. And if you don't, and you've just joined, sit back, relax, and grab that drink of choice, whether it be tea, whether it be coffee, whether it be lemonade, whether it be what I'm drinking, which is not very much left of my passion fruit sparkling water, whether it be a shandy, because that's what you like, whether it be a coffee with something added to it that gives it a little bit of pep, whether it be a Tia Maria, a Bailey's, amaretto, because as I always say, it is 5 o'clock somewhere. So grab your drink, let's dive right in. So, chapter, where are you, chapter, that one, the catch. Now, normally I was going to try, like I did yesterday, I was going to try and do 2, but there was a lot in this one. So I was like, okay, I need to just do this one. And because the next one is actually quite a large chapter, so I thought, right, okay, I'm going to do this one. So this one's chapter 14, the catch. So Harry had never heard of Meghan Markle, but he trusted the judgment of his childhood friend, Violet von Westenholz. So another person that hadn't heard of Meghan. And I think he should be going back to his friend and asking for a refund, personally. A close friend would later say that one question Harry asked wasn't, is she kind? Should have been, but she didn't. But he didn't, rather. He asked what she looked like. So asked about Meghan's appearance. And apparently, what did she mean about Meghan's background? Because her biography on Google was enticing. Well, we all know that she changed a lot of her biography on Wikipedia. And I just think, firstly, that how shallow to ask about somebody's appearance. And this is where, unfortunately, a lot of people do go wrong. They get caught up in the lust and they don't actually recognise whether that person is compatible. And after the lust has kind of dissipated a little bit, because their real self starts to come through and you start to realize actually you're not compatible. So it talks about the fact that saving Africa's animals was clearly important to him, because obviously this is Meghan doing her research. Her 2 visits to Rwanda would prove useful. Her philanthropic activism was an advantage. Anyone would think that she orchestrated these on purpose. It wasn't a surprise meeting that she was setting this up from quite way back. Meeting Harry on the 1st of July 2016. Now, I do find it interesting that and I don't know whether this is a read between the lines moment, but in certain areas, Tom Bower really does kind of like to put the date as if it's poignant. Given that this is what he's being told, whether that matches the actual truth. And then what I find bizarre is that Harry said, apparently in a later interview, he knew she was the one from the very first moment they met. Okay, now here's the thing. You can find someone attractive. You can even like them when you first meet them. But you have pretty much most of the time no idea whether that person's going to be the one. You can hope they're the one because of what they're presenting, but you know nothing about that person. This is why when you get people go, oh, it was love at first sight. No, it was lust at first sight, most probably, because lust and those endorphin feelings mirror the same as love. Now, what happens is lust turns into love because you start to get to know the person, and not only do you fancy them, but they are just, you know, they're really amazing, and so you fall in love with them. So that's why a lot of people then say, oh, it was lust, it was love at first sight. It's because the feelings continue because it turns into love. But actually it was lust at first sight, and that's exactly what I believe Harry had with Meghan. It was lust at first sight. You to say that you know someone is the one, no you don't, because you don't know who they are. You don't know whether they're going to belch or fart at the dinner table, and that might put you off. Most of the time, everyone puts their best face on when they first meet somebody, the best side of themselves. And then apparently she then went back to her agent and was like, oh, he's lovely, adorable, and such a gentleman. And I don't believe this either. Either he was doing the same thing, either he fancied her, so he unfortunately does what some guys do, and that's he wanted to sleep with her, so he was kind of like acting all like Mr. Charming, because every person that's spoken about Harry has said what a tool he was, how he was arrogant, quite, you know, chauvinistic almost, not romantic. You know, his previous 2 girlfriends said pretty much the same thing, immature. But what's interesting here as well is the fact that Meghan wouldn't have cared anyway. She was more interested in getting that status, so she would have done whatever it took to snag him, which is what she did. And we know, obviously, the infamous way she's worn his mother's perfume and things like that. So this was her grooming him, but I think him kind of going, well, she's a bit of all right and I'd like to sleep with her, and acting, you know, how he thinks that he should act. So on the 3rd of July, Meghan posted on Instagram a picture of 2 love heart sweets with the message, kiss me, and love hearts in London. Now, this is allegedly 2 days after they've met for the first time. If they are leading us to believe that 2 days after they meet, she puts an Instagram post up, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. I believe they've met before. I do not believe this is the first time they've met. I think that they've met before. I think that this blind date or whatever it was set up before July. I do not know anyone. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know she's a narcissist and I know she wants to move fast, but even that's fast, especially because at this point she hasn't snared Harry. She hasn't got him in her hooks at this moment, 2 days after their first date. So she would not be risking anything that would make him want to wobble and run for the hills. She would have known his reputation. This is a lie. I'm telling you now. Obviously, I can't prove it, but I'm telling you now, they met before. There is no way that Harry would have been okay with her putting this sneaky little Instagram post out there and risking anything 2 days after meeting. They met that evening, allegedly, and then what? Not the next day, but the next day during the day, she puts an Instagram post up. No. All right, she might have put the Instagram post up on that day, but I tell you now, they met sooner. And then 2 weeks later, Harry secretly flew to Toronto. He stayed for 1 week in the house of a friend of Meghan's, probably Jessica Mulroney. And the reason they did this is because Corey was still sharing the home that they had together. So this here is proof that she was being unfaithful, you know, and I think this is standard for her. Since she had carefully researched Harry's life, Meghan knew exactly how to make him feel loved and appreciated, so long as she looked at him with intense affection and trust. Is the look we've seen throughout the beginning stages of their relationship. She would not trigger his insecurities or paranoia. To reassure him that he was admired for himself, she would tell him what he wanted to hear, especially about the importance of his ambitions and principles. Free of fear and suspicion, Harry succumbed to a person who offered much more than affection. I think that very early on, Meghan said later, when we realised we were going to commit to each other, we knew we had to invest the time and energy in whatever it took to make it happen. That's called love bombing, what you're doing there. That's investing everything into the relationship, because it's called love bombing. Naturally, she could not keep the relationship secret. No, because for her, as soon as that relationship was public, the sooner the better. Harry had warned her about the need for silence to give them time to establish their relationship away from the media spotlight. Exactly. So why would he then be okay with her putting an Instagram post out 2 days? All right, it doesn't out him as such, but she's putting that it's in London. She's suggesting that there's something going on, and all it takes is for her to be seen in London. Then the paps would follow her. She's taking a risk. She's taking a risk, and I don't think anyone would do that 2 days, especially a narcissist, because even though she wants to move fast, she had not secured him at that point. So she wouldn't want to risk anything. He hasn't invested anything with her at this point, so he would run. So I'm not buying this at all. And obviously then she's where she tells her dad, Daddy, he's an Englishman, and Daddy, he's a prince. Oh, God, honestly. At the end of the week, after he returned to London, Meghan was convinced that her spell was cast and the relationship with Harry would be sealed. She told Corey that their affair was over, unaware of the circumstances. He was relieved. Now, I'm sure he was, because he didn't particularly like her anyway. But now he's going to probably, if reading this book, or someone's going to be telling him that, oh, by the way, while you were in your place, she was cavorting around with Harry. But again, this is very quick. So again, I'm not buying it. I think they've met sooner. I do think they've met sooner. And this is why she believes that she snared him, because they've seen each other from more times than what we're being led to believe. So then Corey moves out, and then apparently then Meghan stays in the house, removing all the evidence of Corey's presence as she awaited Harry's first visit to her home. Coincidentally, during those weeks, she happened to be asked questions about Britain on a TV quiz show, and not surprisingly, she knew nothing because she didn't care. I'm sorry, but if you live in a different country and you are dating somebody of a different country, their culture, it would be important to you to find out about that, because their passions, their desires, what makes them happy, etc., is something that you would want to invest in, because if they're happy, you're happy, in a sense. I mean, I'm not saying that in a literal sense, because nobody should make you happy, but you want your partners to be happy, so you want to invest in the things that they love as much as they should for you. And this shows me that she had zero interest in the UK. She never did. That's why she never invested any time, any effort into getting to know what was important in the UK. I mean, this is a prince of the UK. This would have been very important stuff if you're thinking of dating someone like of that caliber. So, but she had zero interest. So she knew nothing and never tried to find out anything apart from what Harry liked. Now, remember what I said earlier? And I was thinking this as I was writing this, and then I get to a bit in the book where it says here, 4 weeks after she met Harry, Meghan set off on a whirlwind tour, first to New York in early August for Lindsay Ross' wedding, which coincided with her 35th birthday. From there, she flew to Italy with Jessica Mulroney for a brief holiday in Positano. Then she headed to Rwanda as World Vision's ambassador. Finally, she arrived back in London for the first time since meeting Harry in June. Now, is this a typo, or did Tom Bauer put this in on purpose? Because I have a sneaky feeling that he's written this, and whether it should have been changed for the book, but it wasn't. He has put here in black and white, then she headed to Rwanda as World Vision's ambassador. Finally, she arrived back in London for the first time since meeting Harry in June. And yet we've been led to believe they met in July. Now, I think that when there was, in the Vanity Fair article, a date was omitted where originally it said May, and then to July. Now, I think they started communicating in May. I think they started communicating. I think they met in June. And I think they had been seeing each other. And that's why when that Instagram post went up, albeit it's still quick, but she'd been about 6 weeks, I reckon. 6 to 7 weeks. I think there is the proof. There is the proof. Now, obviously, it's coming from a book, and I don't know, but I don't think Tom Bauer put anything in that book that can't be corroborated. So, I think that's the proof that she met him earlier. So here it talks about where Meghan talks to her. Oh my gosh, I've gone blank. Publicist? No, it's not publicist. Oh my gosh. Oh, brain fart. Anyway, somebody, that Neethorpe Cohn, whoever she is, I literally have forgotten the word. I literally said it just now. Obviously talks about, she says, do you realise you won't be able to make any more movies? Royal duties will be your life. Movies? What movies? We're talking about the Hallmark ones that never really went anywhere. Because I don't recall Meghan really making any movies apart from those. She's not really missing much, is she? And then apparently Meghan snapped at her and says, be quiet, I don't want to hear any negativity. This is a happy time for us. Yeah, well, of course. She didn't want to hear anything that would go against the idealisation of that she wanted to snare the prince. She wasn't going to hear anything. Years later, Meghan sought to portray herself as cautious about going to Botswana. It is crazy to go away like this, she allegedly asked her friends. It wasn't something she had done before, wrote Oh Mad, I'm Mad, Scooby-Doo. That portrayal of coy uncertainty was barely convincing. She knew that any association with Harry, even if it ended abruptly, would establish her as a super celebrity. Oh, she knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't coy about going to Botswana. Please. Please. On the 6th of August 2016, The Sun reported his presence in Natal. He had been to the raucously drunken wedding of George McCall. Oh, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce that. Anyway, it's his cousin. So he hadn't changed. He was still going to drunken parties and going all crazy. So nothing had changed where Harry was concerned. Now here we go again. 2 weeks later, Meghan flew to Botswana for a second bush holiday with Harry. Now, so let's do the timeline. So apparently they met on the 1st of July. 3rd of July, she puts the Instagram post up. And then towards the end of in early August, she then flies out to does the whirlwind tour with Lindsay Roth. Then she goes away on holiday, and then she comes back and she heads to Rwanda. So this is all happening in July. So then Harry then goes out to meet her in her place. So this is obviously then throughout July. No mention of going to Botswana in July. So then in the beginning of August, she goes to Botswana, which we're being told is for the first time. But here it clearly states this is the second time. So when did she go for the first then? When did she go to Botswana for the first time with Harry? Because we're not being told about it. But here it clearly states that mistake, the fact that they met in June, and here is the second time they met in Botswana. They went to Botswana. So I think they have been to Botswana before. I think they've been dating for a bit longer than what they've been telling us. And the reason, I think, is because Meghan was with Corey. And maybe there's another reason. I don't know. But there's a reason why they've lied about this relationship when it started. So obviously it talks about Harry falling in love with her. But again, like I say, it's just lust. Meghan was very good at love bombing, I would imagine. And then it says, Meghan explained, to prevent Harry escaping, she was not going to let him get away. And I think there are very true words spoken. I think right there and then, that is exactly the point. Meghan would have done absolutely anything to keep Harry from leaving. So that's why she wouldn't have taken any risks. She would have done whatever it took to snare him. And once she got him, then that's that. So this is why I think, did something happen? Did something happen? Because she didn't have him. He wasn't secure with her. But then suddenly he was. Meghan uses people. And the only reason a narcissist keeps someone around is because they have to. So in Meghan's world, like for example, that when she kept Jessica Mulroney around and people like that, it is because she needed them. Like her best friend. She needed her best friend as someone that she could talk to, someone that she could pull on when she was having a bad day. So she could ring her up and be like, oh, I need you. Because she didn't have anybody else. But as soon as she started to mix in the suit circle, and then she got other friends, she dropped. She wasn't interested anymore. And this is what she does all along. She only keeps you around if she has to or she needs you. And as soon as that need is no longer there, you're gone. And she never gives you a second thought. And this is how narcissism... It's very cruel and it's very heartbreaking for some that you can be so just dropped without any due care. They do not care. And then this is obviously where Meghan said the famous, I do not see it as giving anything up. I see it as a change. It is a new chapter. As became evident in later months, Harry's commitment and talk of duty and self-denial was unattractive to the actress. The idea that there would be serious restrictions on her life as a member of the royal family had not occurred to her. We're going to change the world, Meghan said solemnly. With Harry by my side, we can change the world. Well, you know what? In a strange way, she kind of did, didn't she? In a way, because the controversy that's come out from these two since she's joined the royal family, I think has changed a lot of things. I mean, the pandemic, of course, has changed a lot of things, but she has as well. Before she come along, I'm not saying the royal family was perfect. Of course they weren't. There was still issues with Andrew and obviously, the stuff that happened with Diana and things like that. But they were in a good place. William was great with Catherine, and then they were great with Harry. And there's a lot of pictures of him laughing, joking around. He seemed to be a little bit more settled. And then she's come on the scene and it's just thrown everything up in the air, I mean, I do think now we've had the Jubilee. I think that, William and Catherine have gone from strength to strength. The children are amazing. I think it's sad, unfortunately, that the latter stage of the Queen's life that she's had to deal with those two. But, and the unfortunate stuff that's come along with Andrew. But, I think he was in a pretty okay place. And I think she has stirred up so much stuff. She's created so much division. And then even if you think about it, like with the social media side of things, their fan base, that they've created awful division on Twitter. In one way it kind of brought us together, and then stuff happened, and it's a lot of infighting and stuff like that, and it's created a huge amount of division. And they are incredibly nasty and vile. And as much as I think Twitter has always had an element of that, I don't think I've ever seen anything so bad as what I've seen since this suck it squids, whatever they want to be called, whatever they're called, because I'm not saying the other word, have come along. So here says the end of September 2016, Meghan was booked by her publicist to address 1,300 delegates to the One Young World Summit in Ottawa. Billed as among the brightest young leaders from around the world, Meghan was listed as a UN Women Advocate for women's leadership and political participation and a global ambassador for World Vision. They clearly didn't do their research very well, did they? Meghan urged her agent to generate publicity around her speech. She said, I also want to be photographed with Justin Trudeau and Kofi Annan, she told her Cone. It's really important, very important. To satisfy her demands, she arranged for Meghan to feature in a special edition of Vanity Fair as an exceptional young leader. Meghan was seated with the chosen leaders in a minibus outside the conference centre, waiting to be driven to the photo shoot. Seeing Meghan through the open door, a young female reporter asked her a benign question. Meghan turned to her, snapped and said, talk to my agent, and then turned back to her agent. Her agent, that's it, her agent. Publicist. Gina, just sort this out, she said. Apparently her agent was taken aback and a little shocked. Until that moment, in her eyes, Meghan had always been warm and accommodating to everyone. Well, I don't know what eyes she was looking out of then, because even in this, it talks about that she was a bit, not nice to people. So I don't know whether, again, Meghan did what she normally does and hid a lot of things from her agent, but I definitely wouldn't say she's warm and fuzzy. My words. Meghan had changed. She was only a feminist when it suited her. Well, yeah, that's the truth. She is. Back at the hotel, Meghan had a new demand. Once her relationship with Harry was known and she spent more time in London, she explained she would need a special media relations team. I want you to handle it, Gina, she said. Since she had no money, so at this point, let's be clear, Meghan had no money. So this whole thing where the squad are like, oh, Meghan had millions before she married Harry. Well, apparently, no, she didn't. She didn't have any money because she couldn't even afford to pay her agent. And because that agent refused, as she was not a PR agency and lacked the staff and expertise, and I'm guessing didn't want to be paid, didn't want to not get paid, she said no. And Meghan apparently was very insulted by the fact that Cone rejected her proposal. That evening, Meghan was photographed with Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister. Unexpectedly, Kofi Annan had left Ottawa the same day, missing the dinner. The chance for the photograph was lost. Her agent watched her client fume. The following morning, Meghan announced that she would not make her speech. She was returning immediately to Toronto. Suits directors required urgent filming. So again, here we have that things haven't gone her way. So rather than just suck it up and just do the job that she's supposed to be doing, because it's important that other people, because it's about other people, not just about her, she makes up some elaborate excuse, and like she did when she stormed out of the other UN women when she couldn't get what she wanted, and said she wasn't going to be part of that anymore. And this is classic for her. So I'm sorry, but there is no way that someone that behaves like this, even before meeting Harry, is suddenly going to have a wake-up call when meeting Harry and suddenly be a complete angel. She would have been she was a nightmare here, so she would have been an absolute horror nightmare as soon as she wed Harry. If she felt entitled here before even being anyone, oh, I'm sorry, she would have been absolutely unbearable as soon as she married Harry and thought she was someone. So anyone that says that she was lovely either didn't know her or was just being love bombed by her. So they just saw the mask, you know, because she could use, like, you know, Omad, Gobi. She needs him. She uses him. So she's going to, but I'd absolutely bet that she loses the plot with him at times, but he won't ever come out and say that. Honestly. And this is where she said, her agent says, but you've made a speech. You've agreed to make a speech. And then Meghan says, I'll leave it up to you. You're my agent, sort it. In the midst of her rebuke, a young woman interrupted her. Meghan snapped back, don't these people have manners? These people? So who are these people? What, staff? And then she put, she didn't even greet me. Oh, honestly, who is she? Who is she? Her agent rushed back into her room and for the first time in her long career burst into tears. Since Meghan and Harry had become an item, she realised her client had become a very, very different woman. No, she hadn't. It's always been there. She just masked it with you. The change was partly influenced by Harry's obsession with the importance of protection, bodyguards and privileged status. So here we have his obsession with protection and bodyguards. So this is where he is obsessed, and his privileged status. He was not going to give that up. This whole thing, oh, I just want a private life. Nope, nope. Harry was not going to give that status up. No. The only way that he would have walked away in the way he did is either because he believed he was going to have some kind of status in America, which Meghan would have made him probably tried to make him believe, or he had no choice. He had no choice. He had to walk away because someone was making him do it. Probably in the realms of, I'm going to end my life, Harry, if you don't leave with me. And that's how I think she did it, a lot of it. I think the bullying and everything else was all coming out. The charade that was kind of, the veil was falling down. The love for Meghan was dissipating. A lot of things were coming out. She didn't like it. The bullying allegations, everything was coming out. Probably the fact that there was the lies surrounding the birth of A. And the royal family were like, no, we're not putting up with this anymore. And then, of course, I think Harry wanted the half in, half out. The Queen said no. And then it was kind of like, ta-ra, see you later. You know, you're not doing this. And I think Meghan forced his hand. And I think that's why we got the speech of, I'm doing this for my wife. I think in a way, yes, I think he was. But I think it's because Meghan forced his hand to do it. I think she created such an unbearable environment with the way she was behaving, and I think part of that was orchestrated. I think she knew that she would leave. She never planned on staying there. I think she planned on being part of the royal family, but I think she wanted her cake and eat it. I think she thought that she'd be able to kind of go off into Hollywood and do everything and have all the doors open for her, and I think she wanted all of that. And when she realised that if she was to leave, then she wasn't going to have that, then she created a plan. It's always been there. So apparently Harry loved flying first class on commercial flights to Toronto, wearing a baseball hat. He slipped off the plane unnoticed to a car waiting on the tarmac. Well, funny that before Meghan, he was able to go on a commercial flight and fly first class without being noticed. But then since Meghan, everywhere he goes on a private jet. And apparently he has to keep his family safe. Really? Safe from who? Safe from who? Because no one cares. This just shows that when he goes to the UK, he doesn't need protection because nobody is interested. And In alternate weeks, Meghan flew to London. On arrival at Heathrow, she received special treatment organised by Harry. First to disembark, she was driven to a VIP facility for processing her passport, then sped in a chauffeured car to London. There she stayed in Nottingham Cottage, Harry's 2-bedroom home within Kensington Palace, a secluded and guarded compound near Kensington High Street. So again, all the privacy, all the seclusion, you know, there was no need. If that was all you were worried about, then you didn't need to worry, really. Those privileged influenced her reaction to an encounter in the first-class airport lounge on a return trip. An airline official asked her to move to another seat to make way for a group of male Colombian dignitaries. Without protest, she picked up her bag. In the future, she pledged no one would ask her to move ever again. And that's where you have it. I think, you know, she was like, I am going to be the top. No one is going to be above me. And I won't be told what to do or where to go or whatever. And I think that's been her plan. Everything in a way was fine, like I say. I mean, maybe not like 100% fine, but fine in general until she come along. Now, I'm not putting all the blame on her. Harry is just as culpable. He is. He's an adult. He should know. He should have known better. He should have listened to his family and maybe not thought with the brain that's between his legs. But he didn't. And, you know, I know firsthand, whether it be personally and professionally, how a narcissist can get their hooks into you. So someone like Harry is not going to be any different, and he wasn't any different. She planned this fastidiously. She knew what she wanted, albeit that I don't believe he was her initial interest. I think she wanted the other person, and I think what she probably would have done is that she would have done something. And in my opinion, going by how I know narcissists to be, especially megalomaniac narcissists like Meghan, and the kind of research that I've done, I think, in my opinion, that she would have got with Harry, which she did. Then she would have made the moves and done something to get between Catherine and William, and with maybe, yeah, well, I just do. I think that's what she would have done. And I think when he scarfed her, that basically rejected her, and that would have bruised her ego hugely. And that's one of the worst things you can do to a narcissist. So because of that, that's when she then set out to try and damage their relationship and I think that was why her team, I can't prove it, but I believe, put out the Rose Hambury affair. But yeah, so that's my thoughts anyway. So let me know what you think in the comments. As always, do you like the video? And if you do, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, well, maybe give it a thumbs down, or hopefully don't. If you like more of my videos and you want to make sure that you never miss out on a future upload, then please think about subscribing to the channel. There are many ways to support this channel, where, like I say, I always give back and you get extra perks for doing so. But you don't have to be a member, Patreon, or part of the Bubble Tea Club to get those perks, because I do give perks as long as you are a subscriber to my channel. I do various giveaways, so please bear that in mind when you think about whether you want to join this channel or not. All my links are in the description box below. That's including how to become a member, Patreon, part of the Bubble Tea Club. There's a Facebook group. I'm on Instagram. The link to my merchandise if you want to go across and buy yourself a Bubble Family mug or a Bubble Family t-shirt or hoodie. There's journals there if you want to use your journals, because I'm a great advocate for journals. Something for your dog there, something for your baby. There's lots of things there that you can go across and buy. What else? Just thank you. And obviously my PO box is also in the description box for anyone who, like I say, would like to send me something they would like me to show off on my channel, and I can draw a little bit of maybe attention to your page or whatever it is that you're doing. Are you into some art that you would like me to showcase for you? Anything. I'm happy to use my channel to help support you, promote you. Do you have a channel that is just up and running and you would like me to take a look at it and maybe stick that in the description box below for you? Any way that I can help, I will try my best to do so. So if you want to stay for the waffle, you know what to do. And if not, for the rest of you, thank you very much. I love you, I appreciate you, and I respect you. Take care. So if you have decided to stay for the waffle, welcome, whether you are one of my amazing bubble family or whether you are joining the bubble family for the first time. This is what I do now at the end of every video because, well, because I can and because I want to. So I just talk about, for people that are asking what waffle is, no, it is not the toasted variety, albeit that that's lovely. This is just me talking about just various random things, and in the UK we call it waffle. So I'm just fanning myself because as always, when I go to come on camera, it decides then to give me the hot flush, and I can't use my lovely neck fan, which I have been using because it's a little bit noisy, unfortunately. But I have to say, I've been sitting when I was doing the book and going over the notes and everything, and it's like I just love it. I love it. So yeah, it's one of the best things ever. So please, if any of you suffer with hot flushes or anything, get one because it's amazing. So today I had another lovely little surprise in the post. One of you lovely members, and you know who you are, sent me this. So look at that. Isn't that like the cutest thing ever? They made this themselves. And obviously there's a little message in there as well. But honestly, it's things like this, and the card I got yesterday, and the various sort of cards that I have had, and letters and postcards and and things like that. I honestly, I love them, and I cannot wait to get my office done so I can put these up, because at the minute they're kind of dotted around my house, because I do put them up, but they're, let's say, dotted around my house, and it's frustrating because I kind of want them up in one place where I can see them. Like, I want to be able to frame things, or like I'm gonna make a little folder which is gonna have like all the letters, postcards and things, so I can keep them all together, because these are kind of memories. These are memories we're making here, so it's nice to be part of something. And I'm loving the comments you guys you really do, because even I get days where I feel a bit down, or I feel despondent or disheartened, and I could be having a bit of a bad day, or I'm not feeling well, or something, and I go on and I look at the comments, and immediately I feel so much better. So don't ever doubt, all of you, that as much as I know that you say that I give to you in regards to the videos that I do, but you do give back to me, in so many ways. And that's why, like I always say, this is not just about people that join up as members or Patreons. Arthur, you give me another hair. It is really about all of you here, that I read the comments, and I do try and get through. I sit here of an evening. This is why I'm single, guys. This is why I'm single. I have no time to date, because my evenings when I'm watching television, I'm going through the comments and I'm like, love heart reply, love heart reply. So that's what I do of an evening. Not because I feel like I have to, but it's because I want to. So can you imagine if I was actually dating somebody and they'd be like, you're just permanently on your phone? So that's why I think that you guys are my life. I think now, literally, I have no time for anything else. I have no time. I spend my life with the Bubble family. So I mean, that's quite funny, maybe quite sad a little bit, but you know what, I don't care. I love it, so I don't care what people think. What else do I want to waffle about? Thundering and lightning here. We've had crazy rain today, and you'd think that it was a bit cooler. It's a little bit cooler, but it's still incredibly muggy, which is so frustrating. But I have to say, the grass is welcoming. My plants, my tomatoes are welcoming the rain. They're like, thank you, thank you. Especially because here we have gone into a hosepipe ban, so this has been very welcoming for everyone's garden, I would assume. So I think it's a bit of a short waffle today, so I can't really think of much else to waffle about. It's been a long working day for me, which is why when you see this bit, it looks a little bit different to the one I done before, because I've had to do this in stages. The weather has been a bit crazy, but I am grateful for the fact that it's turning a bit later in the day, it is getting cooler. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I know that some of these chapters are quite lengthy, but as you know, I'm not just reading the chapters out. I'm giving you my therapeutic perspective, where it's reading between the lines, looking at the way people behave and how you can adapt that into your own life, or whether you can look at something and think, you know, that's going on for me and I need to change that. You know, it's really trying to create a learning kind of teaching moment for you guys as well, which I hope you do appreciate and get. So I will see you in tomorrow's video, where I normally do a Q&A, but unfortunately I'm having a day off on Friday, even though I'm still doing the live with Trev Friday evening, so don't panic. No matter where in the world he is, I will be doing it. So tomorrow I'll be doing a video, but Friday I normally do the Q&A, but I won't be doing that this week, so I do apologize. But I will be popping on to do the members, because I haven't done the members one, and I might give you a little video, but we will see. Tomorrow I will be doing obviously the last installment in the book, and then I take a bit of a break and I talk about other things, so you'll be getting that tomorrow, because I think we all need a break from time to time of Harry and Meghan. So if there's anything in the news that you have seen that you would like me to talk about, please drop it in the comments below so I can take a look at it and do a little bit of research ready for next week. So if you have that in mind, that will be great. If you have anything that you want to talk about really, then please just, yeah, like I say, drop me an email, drop me a comment in the box below. So as always, thank you to people who have bought me a cup of tea, a cup of something, alcohol, which is what I need after dealing with Harry and Meghan. Thank you to everybody who is supporting the channel in one form or another. I really do respect and appreciate you. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. So don't forget, all my links are in the description box below. That's including everything, my merchandise, Instagram, PO box, everything. So it's all there, so you can click on that on every video. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. So have a wonderful rest of your evening, Bubble family, and you know that I love you and I appreciate you, but most of all, I respect you. Mwah. Take care, Bubble family.